one of the lead baseball voices in all the land from ESPN, senior baseball writer and reporter, and Kansas Cityan extraordinaire, Jeff Passan. Good to see you. How are you, Jeff?
What up, Jeff?
Denizen of Section 103 at Chiefs games as well. So
do you have season tickets? You got season tickets?
I do have season. I got season tickets 3 years ago now, when I realized that my eldest child was going to be gone from our lives in 200 weeks. He had 4 years until he was gone off to college.
Right.
And he loves nothing more than watching Patrick Mahomes in person. I have not been a sports fan for a really long time in terms of actually rooting for teams.
Because of what you do for a living?
No, because I grew up in Cleveland. And
that's funny.
But don't pump.
No,
that is funny, man.
Timing.
It broke my heart. I had my heart broken so many times, in the 80s with the Browns when I was just a kid, 6, 7, 8 years old. Seeing the drive, seeing the fumble, and then with the Indians teams in the 1990s that were so good and never won. And it's just why do we do this? Why do we put ourselves as sports fans through torture every single year when the inevitability is going to be that it turns out poorly? Because it does for 31 of 32 teams in the NFL and for 29 of 30 baseball teams and on and on. And sometimes the journey is not worth the pain in the end. And then I moved to Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes came along, and the journey doesn't end in pain. It just ends in glory and championships, and it's been a beautiful thing to be the bandwagonist fan of all time, and I make no apologies for it at all. And you know why? Because winning's awesome.
That's right, it is.
It's the best.
And you see what so how old is your kid?
16.
He's 16.
Yes.
And he's going to these games, and he's got to be living his best life seeing this. Because what a show that you have in town. It's unreal.
Tonight it's going to be myself, my son, his best friend, and his girlfriend going to a Chiefs game for the first time.
How about that?
And so
Taylor Swift?
She wants to see Taylor Swift.
No,
yes.
I thought that's the girlfriend.
No,
okay, just
no.
the breaking news.
He's got more game than I expected, but he's not got that much. It's not like Kelsey style game now.
It's got more.
I just want to see if we're breaking news or anything like that. So Section 103, check out Jeff Passan if you happen to be in 103 tonight. That's pretty cool, dude. And we're also in the town of an absolute 100%, unless there's a major collapse in the next 3 weeks, playoff team of the Kansas City Royals, correct?
Yes, and they have not been playing particularly well
of late.
But they built up a cushion. And the rest of the American League stinks. The Red Sox have not taken advantage like they needed to. The Seattle Mariners have collapsed entirely. The Detroit Tigers are the team that's making the biggest run at the Royals and the Twins toward the bottom of the wild card.
They're too far away right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually picked them to win the Central this year. I thought they had a better shot at playing like they are now, but they scuffled early on, and Spencer Torkelson was sent down, and Riley Green was hurt for a little while. They're going to be really good in the next few years. And the American League Central, which has been the Comedy Central forever, is primed to be a nasty division for the next half decade. The White Sox accepted, of course.
Right. So you take a look at the wild card teams. It's going to be whoever loses the AFC. I got to get out of the base.
You are in football mode.
I
don't blame you, buddy. You came to Kansas City.
I know.
You came to Kansas City for something. It wasn't baseball.
It's the East.
I know. Yeah. Whoever's going to lose the American League East, whoever finishes second, and then the other two teams from the Central.
Yep.
So that's going to be basically your wild card situation. We got Bobby Wood Jr. coming in here tomorrow, and we are genuinely excited to meet him. I mean, where do you think he finishes in MVP voting this year?
I think it's second.
Judge?
Yeah, because Aaron Judge is having just an absolutely extraordinary season. But the way, and I'm writing something on this for next week, because Kansas City goes to New York, and Judge and Witt are going to be in the same stadium. We can talk about the two and comparing them and saying head-to-head who's better, who should be MVP, who's not. The way I look at it with them is those two are so much better than everyone else right now, and that includes Juan Soto, and that includes Gunnar Henderson, and that includes Jarren Duran and all the other guys up there. They are charting a course in terms of wins above replacement that we have not seen, Rich, in upward of 100 years. Two guys from the same league, position players, having 10-plus wins above replacement. So the fact that Bobby Witt is doing this at 24 years old, he's got a ceiling unlike anybody in baseball right now, and he is so good at hitting and so good at fielding and so good at running. He is the complete player in the game. Judge's bat takes him above and beyond everyone. He's that much better a hitter than everyone else. But in terms of all-around players, there's no one like Bobby Witt right now.
I got Jeff Passan here on the Rich Eisen Show. Turn the microphone tilted up a little bit. No, the one right there in front of you, the radio mic. Just there we go. Right here on the Rich Eisen Show. So there we go. We're working on it's all falling apart. Now we're back again.
Hey.
Jeff Passan here on the Rich Eisen Show. So if baseball did it like the NFL, which is we're not splitting MVPs in conferences.
Right.
Okay? That if it was one all-encompassing, you know where I'm going with this.
Ooh, I like this question.
This is a good sports talk radio conversation. It would be Judge and Ohtani, clearly, which is what we'd be talking about for MVP of the league. You got to. I mean,
Would we, though?
Ohtani's going for his first 50-50 season ever,
listen,
right? I mean,
don't
Judge has him by 2.5 WAR right now.
He does. And here's the
so
thing.
you would take Judge. It would be a clear Judge over Ohtani.
Not even a question.
No kidding.
I would take Witt over Ohtani.
Why?
Because Ohtani's a DH. And here's the thing. Bobby Witt has a higher batting average than him. Bobby Witt's on-base percentage is right there with him. Bobby Witt's slugging percentage is right there with him. They're both around 400 and 600 on those. So offensive numbers-wise, he is coming close to matching him. I understand the home runs are a big deal, as they should be, but Witt's got him in doubles. Witt's got him in triples as well. And beyond that, he plays shortstop at an extraordinary level.
He sure does.
And so when you're comparing in the National League right now, for example, like Shohei Ohtani with Francisco Lindor, there's an argument there.
Thank you for
because
that,
Lindor is so good at shortstop, and because Lindor, this microphone's going to be the death of me.
No, keep going.
Because Lindor is so good all around, but he doesn't have the offensive numbers Bobby Witt does. Lindor's hitting, 270 on base, 330 slugging, 470, 480, somewhere in that range. It's like he's a good offensive player. He's a great all-around player. Bobby Witt is a great offensive player and a spectacular all-around player. And the fact that Ohtani doesn't play a position right now, it's like when we look at him, Rich, in a normal year when he's pitching and hitting,
yes,
even if he's just above average in both, I think he should be MVP because the value that you bring being above average in both of those things is absolutely enormous. In that same vein, we have to ding Ohtani some for not playing a position when he's not out there pitching. And we can marvel at the 50-50 that he looks like he's going to put up at this point, but we also can't ignore the things that he doesn't do.
Jeff Passan here in studio in Kansas City, his home and home of the Chiefs, home of the Royals. Again, Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be here tomorrow. A few minutes left with Jeff. So Judge clear far and away the MVP of the American League, if not the entire league, and yet the Yankees are a half game out of first, and yet they could be so far in first if it weren't for their closer, who goes from all-star, to just one of the worst at the position in Clay Holmes. Where do you stand on that subject matter?
Clay Holmes didn't give up a run for like the first 2 months of the season.
I know that, and then he had some actual clean outings for a couple weeks. But 11 blown saves on the whole is something that is unsustainable. Would you not agree?
The Yankees are in a pickle right now. And let's remember what happened at the trade deadline. Carlos Estevez went to the Philadelphia Phillies. A.J. Puck went to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Michael Kopech went to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Lucas Erceg went to the Kansas City Royals. We can talk about reliever after impact reliever after impact reliever, and the Yankees knew that their bullpen was not strong enough, and they didn't go out and supplement it. They got Mark Leiter Jr. at the end, and he has not been the solution. And at this point with the Yankees, and Aaron Boone alluded to this yesterday, I think it may come down to either Luis Heel or Clark Schmidt, who are going to start off coming back from injuries in the rotation, turning into that leverage guy in the postseason, which is a dubious proposition. And yet, we need to also recognize that in playoff baseball, it's not necessarily about having a starter and setup guy and people who have assigned innings. It's just getting 27 outs. And you do it however you can. And if it's with guys who are in roles, okay, that's great. But we've seen the Houston Astros in years past rely on starters in relief roles. And we've seen other teams like Cleveland back in 2016 get to the 7th game of the World Series with Cody Allen and Andrew Miller and no bullpen aside from that. So it's not like you need a lot of guys. You just need reliable ones, and that's what the Yankees are still hunting for with, less than a month before the postseason begins.
So you could make a case, though, if you had to put your chip on the Yankees or the Mets to go further in the playoffs. Which one would you choose right now?
Yankees, because I think that the Yankees are going to make it, and I'm not sure that the Mets are going to make it at this point. They got to get past Atlanta, man. And Atlanta, despite all of its injuries, is still a formidable team. But once you get into the postseason, if the Mets are in there, yeah, I could see a really solid argument that the Mets have a better chance in the playoffs than the Yankees do.
Yeah, they're playing better baseball right now.
Unquestionably. They're playing really good baseball right now. And it's, you want to bolster Lindor's MVP case. The Mets are not where they are without him doing what he's done. And even beyond like the wins above replacement argument, which I think can be kind of reductive and facile sometimes, it goes down to what he does for that team and in that clubhouse. And I know it's really difficult to measure leadership, but I appreciate leadership so much, and it's what makes Aaron Judge, I think, such a special player. Beyond what he is capable of doing on the field, he is a really good and well-respected leader in that clubhouse.
Jeff Passan, couple minutes left with the lead baseball scribe and reporter of ESPN here in his town of Kansas City, getting ready for kickoff. So in the month we have left, I guess crystal ball it for me. How do you see everything playing out in the baseball season from here on out, Jeff?
I wish I knew what this season was going to look like, because we have to remember, Rich, we've gotten used to multiple 100-win teams every year going into the postseason looking like juggernauts. And in some cases, like the Red Sox a few years ago, they go 108-54 and, like blitz through the postseason and win a championship. And then you have these Dodgers teams that have done it year in, year out. And the only time they won was in 2020 during the COVID-shortened season. This year, though, there is no 100-win team. There may not be a 95-win team. Mm-hmm. It's a bunch of good teams, and I'm not sure that we're going to see who's great until like the first or second round of the postseason, and who's catching a heater at that point, because that's who's going to win. It's going to be the team that happens to get hot at that particular moment. Now, I look at the Dodgers and I really like them. I know that their pitching has been banged up all year long, but that lineup can hit quality pitching, and to me, that's what it's going to come down to this October. It's going to be lineup depth, because you're going to have the best pitchers in the world out there. Can you face them in leverage situations and take advantage of it? And I like the Dodgers lineup, and I like the depth of the Phillies lineup. And if I'm picking someone in the American League right now, Rich, it's not New York.
It's the Orioles?
It's not Baltimore.
Who is it?
It's not Cleveland. It's not Minnesota. It's not Kansas City.
The Astros?
It's the Houston Astros.
Oh, wow.
Look at the way that they've been pitching lately. Spencer Arrighetti has been awesome. Hunter Brown has been the best pitcher in Major League Baseball for the last 3 months.
And Yordan Alvarez just hit us in the back of the head with a baseball.
And Kyle Tucker is going to be coming back, and Altuve is there, and Bregman is there, and they've been to 7 straight American League Championship Series. Like, the pedigree is there, and after that horrendous start that they had, they look like the Astros again.
Can you imagine? I mean, just to bring it all full circle, because that's the way, I view the NFL season, is good luck to when the chips are down and it's a win-or-go-home moment. Good luck beating Mahomes and Kelsey and Reed. And that may be the way that things turn out in the American League after all with the Astros, despite everything that went in the regular season. Similar maybe to last year's Kansas City regular season.
I think that's a really good comparison, because at the end of the day, you got to beat the champions, right? you have to go and take it from them.
Yes.
And nobody has been able to take it from Mahomes, and nobody has been able to take it from the Astros consistently.
Jeff, you're the man. Enjoy tonight's game.
Sure will.
You're with your +3 in Section 103, and it's great to have you here in person, and I always appreciate you taking our calls and being part of the show, man. You're awesome.
It is a joy and a pleasure. It's been fantastic being here, so thanks, Rich.
You got it, and his hair is already in postseason form. It's amazing.
Unbelievable.
Right?
It doesn't move.
I'm talking as if he's not sitting
Hold on,
here with his hair. It's it doesn't move.
It moves.
Slightly.
And then hold on, let's see. He's shaking it.
You're like Jimmy Johnson. It just goes back.
And it goes right back.
You train it.
Dude.
You just got to train it to go the right
This
way.
guy,
You know?
you bastard. Coming on my show and working your hair like that in front of me.
Jeff,
Who the
you
hell
said-
do you think you are?
Jeff, you said it wasn't coming back, but Coach Prime had a way for it to come back for Rich, but he don't
No, I'm not going to. No.
He don't want to take it.
Look at this guy. All right. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.